good night, good morning, good evening. Blessings to each and every one of you. And welcome to Pastor O'Neil's Review Zone. All right. Today, we have a very interesting topic. We're going to be diving into, a situation. So, Sophie Turner and her husband, Jonas, are getting a divorce. Yeah, you heard right. Sophie Turner and Jonas are getting a divorce. My question is, was it FOMO that caused this entire splitsville to take place? Was it FOMO that caused this massive breakup, irreparable for this couple? Well, let's dive in and find out. Okay, let's start.
Welcome to Pastor O'Neil's Review Zone podcast. We are glad that you decided to join us today. This podcast focuses on reviewing topics like movies, music videos, audio clips, and even relationships, so sit back and enjoy the show. Welcome to Pastor O'Neil's Review Zone.
So we are looking at Sophie Turner and her husband Jonas, their breakup, their marriage divorce, basically. So Sophie Turner and Jonas are going to Splitsville. All right. And my question is, was it FOMO that caused their breakup? Well, let's dive in and get some answers to this question. All right. Now, for those of you who just don't know, these two young people are the biggest names. They are A-listers. They are the biggest names in entertainment. But this is just for the few people that may have built their home inside of a rock and have no internet access whatsoever. And neither do they have cable television nor natural over the air OTA television either. All right, so that's just for the few ones that might be able to see this podcast through their friends' mobile device or something like that. So here we go. So Game of Thrones and X-Men lead actress Sophie Turner, who is 27 years old, and Jonas of Jonas Brothers Group, that's her husband, who is 34 years of age, are getting a divorce. The couple were married in a secretive ceremony at a Las Vegas wedding chapel on May 1st, 2019. That was just the other day. All right, COVID was now starting to take over the world here, right? So this was happening May 1st, 2019, after the Billboard Music Awards. Although traditionally, especially in modern times, women are the ones applying for divorce, here we see a difference in this couple's divorce. Jonas, the husband, was the one who applied for divorce on September 2023. He filed for divorce on Tuesday in Miami-Dade County, Florida. And according to Todays.com, who obtained the documents, Jonas states that the marriage between the parties is irretrievably broken. That means that he tried everything, she tried everything, and the marriage could not have been salvaged. I wonder. All right, let's continue. So the filing includes the details that the two have a prenuptial agreement. So yeah, when you have that kind of money, you had to have a prenuptial agreement. So the filing of the divorce includes the prenuptial agreement. As for their children, it states that Jonas has been living with them all along, but he's seeking shared parental responsibility. Let's stick a pin inside of there and we'll come back to it in a little bit. The couple, who have been married for just about 4 years, want to go their own way. All right? So this is C-Town now, couples going their own way. But why did this happen? And if Joe wanted to leave the nuptial, why didn't Sophie fight for the marriage? All right. So what I'm saying is, if Jonas filed for divorce, why didn't Sophie Turner fight for the marriage? These are the questions that we may never get the answer to. All right. because of course this is something that is very, very private, and the couple reserves the right to not share each and every single detail with their fans or with the public. All right, but these are questions we might, there are a lot of questions that we might never ever get the answers to. However, there are some things that we need to know, and here is what we do know so far. We do know, one, that Jonas tried to salvage his marriage to Turner before filing for divorce on Tuesday gone. A source close to the family tells Page 6 divorce was the last resort for Joe. He never wanted to break up his family, but he had to take what he felt was the best course of action for his girls. According to the source, the couple had many disagreements, including some relatable to their contrasting lifestyles, as Turner reportedly likes to party, while Jonas likes to stay at home. Well, you see why he was the one who has been taking care of the kids, because she is out most of the times partying. Now, there's always two sides to our story, and of course, we take all of these with a pinch of salt. But this is the information that we have to go. We have to go with. Of course, the judge, magistrate, or whoever will find out if these allegations and these alleged statements are true or not. And we are not here to decide that. We are not judge and jury. But however, we are here to just rummage through the information that we have at hand. All right. So, as I said, a source close to the family says that divorce was the last thing on Joe's mind. He never wanted to break up his family, but he had to take what he felt was the best course of action for his two little girls. According to the source, the former couple had many disagreements. Well, all marriages have disagreements, all right, and including some relating to their contrasting lifestyles. Well, the thing is here, right? Wouldn't this be something that you would speak about before slipping a ring on somebody's finger? All right, I would think so. If both of us, obviously two individuals coming from two different type of lifestyle, they definitely would want to discuss matters like this. How are we going to raise our kids? How is it that you are going to have your band, what's the term I'm looking for here? Your band engagements, the things that you do with your band, when you're time to store, when time to record, when time to do press, how are we going to settle that? While I have my acting to do, how are we going to? These are things, my dear friends, that a couple ought to be speaking about. All right, but let's continue. So the source says the couple had many disagreements, including some of them relating to contrasting lifestyles, as Turner reportedly likes to party, while Jonas likes to stay at home. So imagine Sansa Stark likes to party more than a Jonas brother. Sounds very strange to me. It just kept building, and Joe finally reached a point where he felt that he had exhausted all options to salvage the marriage, the insider says. An unhappy home isn't a home. And the truth is that he and Sophie were going through it this year. All right. Now, I just always tell people that within any marriage, 5 years is the telltale sign as to whether your marriage would last or not. All right. Because you have the first year, still honeymoon phase. The second year, you still have the glow in the eye and so on. The third year, things started to die out a little bit. The fourth year, you now hit your first snag in the wedding. But the fifth year, that is when you're going to really decide if this marriage is going to last or not. Now, I don't mean to be very cheeky with this comment, but as far as Hollywood nuptials are concerned, 4 years is a very long time, right? they have done better than Kim Kardashian and some of the other people. They have done way better than those. And why is this neighbor's dog keep barking while I am doing my recordings? I don't know. All right, so hopefully he doesn't disturb you guys either. All right, saying that two of them have been through it this year. And what I'm saying is that if you both love each other, you're going to find a middle ground. It isn't my way or the highway. It's a relationship. It's a marriage, not just any relationship, it's a marriage. And so both of you have to come together, and find a middle ground. You would not always get all that you want, but at least you are able to say, all right, yeah, I'm willing to give up this. It's a negotiation. Even in the Bible, God negotiated. He says, come, let us reason together. So there ought to be some reasoning in this couple here, but we don't know the extent of the negotiating process. But let's continue. There's a lot of noise out there, but it wasn't a straw that broke the camel's back situation like it's being reported. Right, so that's number one. Number two, according to TMZ, Joe Jonas saw, Mr. Joe Jonas, he saw and heard something with Sophie Turner that was the last straw in his decision to file for divorce. And it involves a Ring camera. So I wonder what it is that Joe could have seen happening with his wife, Sophie. Now, she don't struck me as a woman to be sneaking around or creeping around, although they always say, do not put your head on a block for nobody. But I'm just saying, what could this Ring camera reveal, right? Could it be what the Uber driver dropped her off, or her driver dropped her off, or she was coming home from one of her escapades with her friends? We don't know. All right, but we are going to stay on top of this to find out what exactly happened. So that's number two. Number three, multiple sources who have direct contact with Joe, that's Joe Jonas, have told TMZ. Now, why are these people snitching on this couple? That's the next thing. Guys, when you have your marriage, keep it very, very close. Your friend, your family, keep that right inside there. And those who you call friends, make sure that these friends know how to keep it zipped. But anyhow, we have the information. Let's go. Multiple sources who have had direct contact with Joe told TMZ Joe had access to the Ring cam that he said captured Sophie saying and or doing something that made him realize that the marriage was over. Right? As we reported over the last 3 months, that's TMZ, Joe has had the kids almost all the time. So the filing of the divorce comes after an extended period of him with the kids and Sophie gone wherever. Right? According to the reports, Sophie has been in London, but Joe and his brothers were touring in the United States, and he had his 2 small kids with him on tour. Possibly had to hire a babysitter to be in the tour bus together with the kids in tow. Now, that is a real man. He makes sure he didn't leave the child off with nobody or the children. I mean, it's 2 girls, so you have to keep a strong eye out for your kids, especially 2 girls. All right, so they are with him on tour, and I applaud this guy. So here is now a story that is way different than all that we have been hearing, right? Because mostly women apply for divorce and so on, but this is not what we see in here right now. 4. Sophie has also spoken about wanting to move back to the UK to raise their children, telling Elle UK last year, I miss England so much, the people, the attitude, everything. I'm slowly dragging my husband back. That fact that she put in there, I'm slowly dragging my husband back, means that the guy obviously has some reserves as to leaving the United States and going across the pond to live in the UK. Now, again, isn't this something that you should have had discussions with your intended spouse? This all it is only the rest of your life you're talking about. No biggie, just the rest of your life. Right? So here's the thing. She says that she's slowly dragging her husband back. So obviously she has been getting some pushback where this whole idea of living in the UK is concerned. I really love living in America, but for my mental health, I have to be around my friends and my family. All right. So now, let me ask a question. You can probably answer in the comment section. Should the man leave his family and go where the woman is, or should the woman leave her family and go where the man is? Or should they spend time going backward and forward? After all, they can afford it. Leave your answers in the comment section. An unknown source, so that is number 4. Number 5, an unknown source who spoke to the Daily Mail said, Sophie feels like she has only just waking up. She's only just waking up to what her life and reality is, the source claimed. She became famous at a very young age, of course, filming the well-earned Game of Thrones franchise, right? She was from the first season all the way down. She was a main character and, of course, had millions of dollars to reap in, and up to this present day have residual income coming in every month from all of those companies that has become syndicated now. I think that's the terminology for it. Game of Thrones has become syndicated, so they receive residual income from all of the large television stations that show the movie each time. All right, Sophie feels like she only just waking up to what her life and reality really is. The source claimed she became famous at a young age, then married and had kids at a young age. Never really had the teenage years of sleeping around. So why is that something that you want to experience? You ought to be glad. But I digress. Let's continue. Right. She became famous at a very young age, then married and had kids at a young age, and never really had the teenage years of sleeping around and just having carefree fun with friends. She feels like her life has stalled after Game of Thrones. So has her personal life. And since the kids have all come along, she's feeling trapped. She's the only person in her tight friendship group who is married with 2 children. So Sophie Turner, her tight friendship group, she is the only person who is married with 2 kids. That is very, very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. All right. So that's the information that we have. That's the information that we're going on. And of course, you know that we have to respond to this. What am I going to say about this situation with these 2 individuals? Not that they're going to take me on or anything like that, but maybe you that are viewing have a similar situation. Maybe your life, your marriage is going through something similar, and it is to you that I'm going to talk to today. So this program, yes, is sponsored by our very own t-shirt brand. It's called O'Neil Tees, and we're going to take a break to learn more about our very own t-shirt brand. Support us, help this YouTube channel to grow. We have 15 subscribers, and I thank God for all 15 of you. I thank God that you have subscribed to the channel, and hope that you find the information here usable. Hope that you find the information great and that you're being educated at the same time. So let's learn more about our very own brand, O'Neil Tees.
Are you tired of wearing the same old boring clothes every day? Do you want to express your personality through your fashion choices? Look no further than O'Neil Tees, the brand new print-on-demand business initiated by Desborne O'Neil. At O'Neil Tees, we offer a wide variety of products to choose from, including classic t-shirts, hoodies, tank tops for ladies, mugs, exercise mats, and phone cases. And the best part? You can customize them with your own unique designs. Whether you want to showcase your favorite hobby, support your favorite sports team, or show off your love for your furry friend, O'Neil Tees has got you covered. And with our high-quality printing process, your designs will look vibrant and last for a long time. And the best part? You don't have to wait weeks for your order to arrive. Our print-on-demand process ensures that your product is printed and shipped to you quickly and efficiently. So what are you waiting for? Visit O'Neil Tees today and start designing your own custom clothing and accessories. With our wide range of products and easy-to-use design tools, the possibilities are endless. Plus, our commitment to customer satisfaction means that you can shop with confidence, knowing that we'll do everything we can to make sure you're happy with your order. O'Neil Tees, the perfect choice for anyone who wants to stand out from the crowd. Order now and experience the O'Neil Tees difference. Just click the link in the description.
All right, so yeah, go to the link in the description and you're going to find all types of t-shirts that will suit your fancy. All right, and if there's a design that you're looking for that we don't have, shoot us an email, and yeah, we're going to have all that information ready for you. Okay, so let's answer the situation. So first of all, I just want us to know that whenever it comes to divorce, whenever it comes to the breaking up of a marriage, it is not something that is easy, right? After all, these individuals have invested a lot into each other's lives. They have invested in an expensive engagement ring, expensive weddings, even if it's a hideaway with close family and friends and that kind of thing. They have changed so much to accommodate the marriage, accommodate their lifestyle. In this case, Sophie Turner leaving the UK, coming over, getting involved with a guy from the United States. Obviously, there's a change in stuff. Obviously, there's a change in lifestyle, change in people. All of his friends. This is something you have to be mindful of when leaving a country and going over to meet your spouse and so on. All of his friends, especially his close female friends, all right, are going to be looking at her like, oh my God, you know how long I've been trying to get him. And then she comes from another country and comes across here and steals our guy. Trust me, it's not going to go down well. They are always going to be hinting, either giving you a bombastic side eye. They are going to be giving you all types of attitude because you have gotten what they have always wanted. And that's just how life is. And you can't get away from that. All right. And vice versa on the female side. Although guys probably more, they accept, okay, this has happened, they accept it, they move on. But women sometimes don't go down so easy. They always try. And even your friends, you've got to watch your friends very, very closely, because they might say that you're friends and so on, but when the rubber meets the road, their actions and their words, all right, are not there to support you in your venture. We're going to get more of that. So having your life lived out before the public is very, very stressful. I don't know how people do it, to be honest. I'm a very low-key person. Many people don't know what's going on with me and my wife personally. Maybe one of these days I probably will do a nice little documentary stating what's going on with us. But until then, and then both of us have to agree, this is what the information that we want to put out there. But by and large, to have people always in your business is not an easy thing. It's very, very stressful. And if your life revolves around social media and examining social media, when you see comments, whether it be negative or trolling comments, adds an element of stress. So even this divorce, all right, and even what I am going to be saying, if they do come across my channel, it might just be adding to an already stressful life that they are into. So I am going to be very, very careful, but yet still, this is life, and we need to get information that helps us have better lives. All right. So let's look at some things. The first thing that I want to really draw our attention to is found in the book of Amos, chapter number 3 and verse 3. Right? And Amos, chapter number 3 and verse 3 says, can two walk together unless they agree? Can two people walk together if they don't agree? How can two people walk together if they don't agree? She wants to live in the UK. He wants to continue in the US. And was there any middle ground where we say, all right, we're going to spend the August vacation in the UK, and we're going to spend Christmas in the US, and we're going to flip that each year? So then I am going to get familiar with your family and your friends, and then you're going to get familiar with my family and my friends. Was something like that ever discussed? Now, I am just an outsider looking in, all right? And I think that is something that can be worked out. And if that was the problem in the marriage, I think that it would have been really, really good for them to explore. But the very fact that she says that, in her interview with Elle magazine last year, she said, I miss England so much. So this is something that is personal to her. She said, I miss the people, the attitude, and everything. All right. And it's a desire. And we cannot discredit her feelings in this whole thing. She says, I'm slowly dragging my husband back. Why does she feel the need to drag her husband back to the UK? All right. So the other thing is, who leads the marriage? Who makes the final decision? Does the husband make the final decision? Is the husband leading the marriage? Or does she, because she's a mega star, does she lead the marriage? Money for money, he has more money than her. All right. Money for money, he has more money than her. But then again, he is the man. He is the leader. And then she has to, all of these things come into marriage. If you coming into a marriage and you don't want the man to lead, right, you're going to have some problems. Because men are leaders. And it have a lot of women who will want to fight that down. But you cannot fight that down. That has been instituted by God. That the man is the head of the house, and that the woman needs to submit herself to him. Now, of course, she does have a say, but at the end of the day, the man makes the final decision, right? And I want to believe that this situation is quite possibly one of the elements that caused the divorce. Because after all, Joe is there with the kids whole time, and he is babysitting, and she is in England. Right? So we have to definitely look at that. How can two people work together unless they agree? And things like these must be discussed in the dating stage. Must be discussed in the dating stage. Must be ironed out. And both parties must be fully aware and concerned that, yes, this is how we are going to live. This is how things are going to happen. This is what we are about. This is our decision. We like it. We chiseled out the details, and this is what we are going to do. All right. So that is one thing. The fact that she's saying that I have to drag my husband back to the UK is a huge red flag in my humble estimation. That's a red flag right there, because it means that it does not matter what he says. It all depends on what I say. And if you have a marriage like that, you are going to be heading to Splitsville. All right? It cannot be that it is my way or the highway. It cannot be that the woman gets all that she wants or the man gets all that he wants. There must be a middle ground, as I said. All right? So she wanting to drag him back is a huge red flag. And as you have heard, in terms of the information that we have, he is in the US, seeing about the children, and she has jettisoned. Now she could be very well working on a project. But my thing is, why now? Sometimes you don't have an idea where your project leads you, because this is Hollywood. Sometimes you're filming in Australia. Sometimes you're filming in New Zealand, the Caribbean, where I live. And in this case, she's filming in the UK. So my thing is, how does the couple chisel out that? Right? How do they come to some agreement where work and so on is concerned? These are things that you must discuss, and not just wait until ring on finger, years pass, and then now is an issue. No, as a man, you're supposed to be a visionary, and if you never thought about it, you're supposed to be praying and asking God. So I am saying being a public figure is quite stressful and adds to the relationship dynamic. And so you must find some time to get away. You must find some way of you have the money, try to divert, have a dummy or something like that, a dummy motorcade, where the motorcade going on the road, so somebody dressed up looking like you and Sophie, and then while the reporters running that way, two others dressed like normal people go the next way. Something like that. I mean, those are the kind of things I would be thinking about in order to, really, really make my life as a public figure work. Right? The second thing is we have to agree. At the end of the day, the man's decision ought to be final. All right? When things come up, we discuss it. We agree and take a look at all angles. But at the end of the day, the man makes the final decision. All right? Not the woman. The man is leading, not the woman. Right? And for those who feel that I'm misogynistic, you can never be a Christian and thinking that, because the man is the head of the home. His decision is final. It doesn't mean that he doesn't take into consideration what the woman's feelings and so on is. No. He takes all that into consideration. But at the end of the day, she must be able to submit to what he is saying. Third thing is, nothing is wrong with being married with kids at 27. And I make specific reference here to this unknown source that spoke to the Daily Mail. So again, you have people that are close to you talking to all of these outlets, and of course these people are getting paid, because these places like TMZ and the Daily Mail and Enquirer and the Sun and Red Book and all of them, they pay for their sources. Sophie feels like she's just waking up to what her life and reality really is. The source claims she became famous at a very young age, and nothing is wrong with that. She had the goods, she had the stuff, and she has an opportunity that many young women in this world does not have. She's one of the elite, privileged few to be a millionaire at a tender age. Right? So she's now coming to realize what that part of her life is missing. She became famous at a young age. Nothing is wrong with that. being married and having kids at a young age, nothing is wrong with that. As a matter of fact, if you check back the statistics, people, our grandparents were married at young ages, but you would never hear this, this terminology called FOMO. And for those who don't know what FOMO is, it is the fear of missing out. You won't ever hear Auntie Estelle and Granny Beatrice talk about FOMO. What is that? Because at age 20, 21, 22, 23, they were already married, already having children. At 27, they would have already had 2 and 3 kids. There's no such thing as the fear of missing out anything. Because back then, life was much more simpler. They didn't have this hot girl summer like what everybody wants to have these days. And now you have the older women jumping into the hot girl summer saying we outside and all sorts of foolishness. And there is this hookup culture, this sleeping around culture, which I call the prostitution culture, that has taken over. And for those who want to know more about that, it is the spirit of the harlot that has taken over the world. And the Bible tells us in the book of Revelation that this harlot has influenced the entire world, including kings. This is leaders, including men. All right? And what a harlot is simply a prostitute. And so we have the prostitution way of life that has influenced normal life. And I find that to be very, very troublesome, very alarming. Why is it that we have chosen, this modern generation, these millennials have chosen to follow after the prostitution type lifestyle, in that young women feel that it's okay to sleep around, as the source was saying here. Right? She finds that she has been famous at a young age, married at a young age, right? Never really had teenage years of sleeping around. Since when does teenage years you have to be sleeping around as a teenager? What? I am a man growing up in Trinidad and Tobago, and my parents nailed into our psyche that, number one, they're not going to be entertaining minding no child if we get any young girl pregnant, right? And as a matter of fact, my father instilled into us, do not look to get no girlfriend or anything like that unless you are ready to mind that individual. So you ought to have some sort of financial stability. There was no such thing as sleeping around. How are you going to do that living in my house with my parents? So this might sound strange to most of you all, but at the age of 30 when I got married, all right, I mean, I was a virgin at 30 years old. Yeah, big man, never been with a woman sexually before. I mean, you had girlfriends, you had girls that you like, hug up, kiss on the cheek and that kind of thing, but never had any sexual relationship with any woman until they get married. And plenty of people bawling, what? How is that possible? In today's age, finding a 19-year-old young lady or 20-year-old young lady, even watching some of the there's this whole body count issue that is happening right now on social media, where there's the red pill group that's saying, guys, look for a girl that has low body count. And a lot of the older women are saying that nowadays the older people have a lower body count than the younger people. What kind of craziness is happening out there? Right? I am saying that her friends who have been influencing her is trying to make it look as if something is wrong because she had fame at a young age, got married at a young age, and has kids at a young age. And bless the Lord, thank God that you were able to accomplish that. A lot of young women, number one, not famous. Number two, hard to find somebody to get married to. And number three, having difficulty having kids. You have the total package. You ought to be giving God praise and thanks and just living and looking to pass important life stories onto your two daughters. But instead, you have your friends influencing you and telling you that you're too young to get married, you're too young to have children, you never had the opportunity to sleep around and live a carefree, fun life with your friends, right? So she feels like her life stalled after Game of Thrones, and so has her personal life. Since the kids came along, she's feeling trapped. And she's the only person, watch this, what I'm getting at to here. Watch this carefully. She's the only person in her tight friendship group who is married with 2 children. So there's a common saying here in Trinidad and Tobago: show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. Show me your friends and I will tell you who you are. And so it is telling me here that her friends have been speaking a rhetoric, have been speaking a language, either body language or verbally, making her feel that she has been missing out on life. What she calls her friends has been making her feel that she has been missing out on life. And here is what I have to say about this, my friends. Here's what I have to say about this. Her friends are not real friends at all. As a matter of fact, all of them are single. And they want her to be single like them. I personally find that they are jealous of her because she has a real husband, a man who is not afraid to stay at home and take care of his kids. You know how much women wish that they had a husband like Joe, who doesn't mind strapping on one of those baby thingies and have a kid in the front and a kid at the side, a kid in the back, a kid at the front, or even holding one, and he's not afraid of that. Until he has his kids with him, I applaud that. Not all men are bad men, ladies. You have good men out here. But here is Miss Sophie Turner taking a dream life and throwing it away. Now, am I saying that she is to be blamed? No, it takes 2 to tango. And maybe Joe might have had his problems, right? Based on the information that we have here. We don't know why she took a job, because you would have had agents, and you would tell your agents, listen, book me jobs that are close to home, so on and so on. Now, I know sometimes you're not able to get that, but try very hard. All right, try very hard. But what I am saying here is her friends are not helping her marriage, right? Because they are influencing her. Because all of her friends in a tight friendship group, she's the only person that is married. So they are telling her, girl, what you doing? Girl, I had to stay home with the kids. And now you're feeling like you're missing out. So here's Miss Turner now leaving the children with her husband and is in the UK, liming with her friends, because you're not shooting every day. And from what I've seen, all right, and now I'm not in the movie business now, but you must have a day off. So on your day off, you reconnecting with your friends, you're laughing, you're partying, you're drinking, you're all over the place. Right? Here's what the Bible talks about friendship. And it's a double-edged sword I want to share with us here. Proverbs 27:6. It's a double-edged sword. And it says, faithful are the wounds of a friend. And I say it's a double-edged sword simply because you can have good friends who will correct you and love you and concerned about you making good decisions in your life. And so what we would consider wound is actually good things, because your friend saying, hey, remember you have a husband at home, or hey, remember you have a wife at home, remember you have 2 children at home, behave yourself. That's good information, because they are concerned about keeping that marriage intact, keeping that relationship intact. But when you have friends who are more concerned about you liming with them, and they don't care about your relationship with your husband and the 2 children that you have together, they want you to come and lime with them and drink and party with them, something is wrong with that. They say, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. And this young lady, being a young mother with a husband and all of that, man who loves her dearly, she's sort of been getting advice from other women who are married with their husbands and have successful lives. This is what she should have been getting information from. Get some friends. Get some friends who are married. Get some friends who are in the whole entertainment business with you, and find out from them, how do you juggle the relationship? How do you keep the fires burning? Get some help from real successful people in the business. You cannot have, as a married woman, a whole set of unmarried girlfriends. So you're going to be having girls trip and all of these kind of things. It will break your marriage up. Right? So we see here that one of the information that we have is that Mr. Joe Jonas saw through a Ring camera. And for those who don't know what a Ring camera is, I'll put it up here. Yeah, that's what a Ring camera is. Right? So he saw through a Ring camera something that tells him, hey, no matter what I try, and this girl. So her friends would have portrayed to her what she is missing out on, while secretly being jealous of her. Yeah. Your friends can be very jealous of you. And you thinking, well, you missing out. They are the ones that missing out. And so they want you to come across. So you leave a perfectly good marriage to jump across now and have. Right. Song of Solomon says something in Song of Solomon chapter 8 and verse 6. It says that jealousy is cruel as the grave. Jealousy is cruel as death. Death doesn't care who you are. Death doesn't care how much money you have. Death doesn't care the color of your skin. Death doesn't care whether you're male or female. Death doesn't care your religious belief. Death does not care who you are. Death just comes for you. And jealousy is the same way. Doesn't care. If you have good friends, people who you call your friends, they're jealous of you, want what you have. People will go to shamans and witches, and in Trinidad we call them obia men and obia women, to do all to consult witchcraft, to break up your marriage, just so that they will feel better. People will say and do all types of things, send messages to your husband, send messages to your wife, just to bring doubt in the marriage, because people don't like to see you happy. And I would say today that Miss Sophie Turner's friends did not like to see her happy. They craftily let her know, hey, girl, you're missing out. You're too young. And here's the thing, and I made, and you're going to see it in the description, I made a video on this earlier on, in that this whole world system lies to us, in that they have our young women focusing on living carefree, focusing on sleeping around, the whole prostitution culture again, sleeping around the place, having a carefree life. And by the time you want to get married, right? You're having problems to get married. You're having problems, right? You have to freeze your eggs. You can't get anybody. A lot of people will die alone. And I'm not trying to, listen, people talk about, listen, you could get married at any age. Sure, you could get married at any age. There are people in 60s and 70s getting married. But why are you wanting to waste your whole life to wait until you're 60 years old to get married, and then you have no children, you have no legacy, you have no... Does that make any sense? Does that make sense to you? Leave your message in the comment section. Does that make sense to you? So the whole thing was the fear of missing out responsible for Miss Sophie Turner's divorce? And poor Joe tried all he could. It might have been an element, but I don't think it's the whole thing. Viewing the information that we have, there are a number of things that created this divorce. And I'm going to list them over. Number one, having your life being played out in the public simply because both of them have followings, right? The Jonas brothers sell out wherever they go. Sophie Turner has built up a name. She's a talented actress. If you saw X-Men, the one with the Phoenix and so on, very good. I love the X-Men. I've been viewing them since I was a child. Love the X-Men, right? And seeing her play that Phoenix role, she was very, very good as the Phoenix. Very, very good as Sansa Stark. All right? Very talented. But very talented doesn't mean that you can make good decisions. So having your life being played out in the public is stressful, right? As a woman, you trying to lead the relationship, and it's all about what you want. Problems. You have to learn to submit yourself to the man's leading. Otherwise, your marriage will never work. For those women who claim the man has to follow you, well, good luck with that. All right. The other thing is following friends. My parents always used to say the friends who could carry you, but they won't bring you back. So having your friends involved in your marriage and influencing you to leave the marriage and influencing you to do things that will stress a marriage. Yeah, you run into hot girl summers and liming and partying with your single friends is not going to help your marriage. It will stress your marriage out. And it will ruin you. So now here it is. Your friends could wound you very, very deeply. Remember Jesus Christ? It was his close friend who betrayed him, kissed him as a matter of fact, and stabbed him in his back. His friend did it. So the Bible says, faithful are the wounds of a friend. Right? And having not just friends, but jealous friends is another thing. Cruel as the grave. No discrimination whatsoever. Jealousy is a hell of a thing. And I want to believe that some of her friends were quite jealous into getting her to follow after them instead of them encouraging her to be the best wife that she could, follow her husband, love her husband, and let them do things together. So that's my 2 cents on the matter. Let me know if you agree with what I'm saying. All right. But remember that we have been counseling people for years. We have been counseling marriages. We have been having premarital counseling, even people who have problems with their marriage. We have been doing this thing for years, right? So it gives us good grounds to speak on some things, and so that you yourselves can be edified, and you know, information that we are sharing is to help you live better lives and have better relationships and have better marriages as well. I don't know if Ms. Turner and Mr. Jonas will see this simple podcast from a guy from the Caribbean, but I hope that they do, and that they can consider this before dispensing, because people have gotten divorced and got back married, you know. Yeah, it has happened. So let me know, what are your thoughts? Let me know what you thought about this whole thing. Was F.O.M.O responsible for Sophie Turner's divorce? Leave your message. And of course, if you like the information, if you found that we give good solid advice to not only the couple, but also people on the whole, couples at large, please like and subscribe. All right, and yeah, share this information with your family and friends, and live better lives. All right, so until next time, keep strong, trust in the Lord, power of his might. Pastor O'Neil here saying bye for now. Take care, guys.